Okay, perfect. So, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy that you're all here with us today for this special session on nutrition in Ramadan. We will be focusing especially on women's health. We will talk about pregnancy, about breastfeeding, and some practical ways how we can nourish ourselves during this holy month. And I'm really very happy that we have today with us a special guest, lovely Hiba Hamadeh from Florida, who is a Muslim female nutritionist. She is passionate about increasing nutrition awareness and not obsessions. She believes in the undeniable role of food that food can play in the quality of human life, which is why she has chosen a career that enables her to help people establish their own healthy relationships with food. She also assists them to understand their nutritional needs and counsel them towards meeting the needs. She is the founder of the Happy Energy Nutrition and Wellness, which is a comprehensive online program for moms. So Hiba actually completed her Master's of Medical Science in Human Nutrition degree in UK. And then she moved to US, where she completed the Commission on Dietetic Registration Certificates of Training in Adult, Childhood, and Adolescent Weight Management, which is really great. And she also completed a didactic program in dietetics at the University of North Florida and a dietetic internship at Emory University Hospitals in Atlanta, where she also joined the Emory team as a clinical dietitian. Hiba has lots of experience in various settings, including working as a nutritionist in a maternity hospital in Abu Dhabi. So thank you so much for joining us today, Hiba. We are really glad that we can kind of dip into your knowledge and learn a little bit more about nutrition to help us throughout Ramadan.
Or did Barbara just freeze?
Did I just freeze?
I think you're back.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully I'm back. Hopefully it's not going to be as freezing as some other times. So welcome, Hiba. And before we delve into the nutrition as such, may I ask you to start us off with a little dua, please? Inshallah. Now, I don't know if I'm frozen or if Hiba is frozen. Okay. So you can all hear me, right? Okay. So let's see. Let's give her a bit of time. Inshallah, she will come back. So in the meantime, I will read the dua in English, and hopefully when she joins, she will read the Arabic version. So Bismillah. Oh Allah, teach us what benefits us and benefit us with what you have taught us and increase us in knowledge. Enable us to see the truth as truth and grant us the strength to follow it, and enable us to see falsehood as falsehood and grant us the strength to avoid it. By your mercy, admit us among your righteous servants. O Allah, allow us all to reach Ramadan in goodness and good health. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, Hiba, you're
Sorry, it
back.
was my internet
Alhamdulillah.
there.
That's all
Yes,
right.
we're going through some very strange weather here in the US, especially Florida. So I wonder if that's the reason. So inshallah, for the rest of our podcast recording today, we don't have any other technical issues, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. So would you mind please reading the dua for us in
Of course.
Arabic?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما، وأرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه، وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه، وادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم بلغنا جميعا رمضان يا رب على خير وعافية. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you for having me, Barbara. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Alhamdulillah. It's a pleasure to have you with us. So
Alhamdulillah. I'm
let's
so glad it
dive
worked out with
right.
all the time difference.
Yes, I know, I know. So what's the time where you are now?
It's just past 2 p.m. It's
Oh, mashallah.
on a
So you've got
Sunday. Mhm.
nice afternoon, and on Sunday we already have evening, so slowly dinner time. Okay. So
Yes, yes.
let's see if we can dive right in. So, just to begin with, can you please tell us just a little bit about yourself, your journey into nutrition, what inspired you to embark on this journey, um, and all that?
Yes. So, back when I was in high school, so I grew up in the United Arab Emirates. I went to school in Abu Dhabi. And when I was in high school, I remember all the fad diets going around. Unfortunately, they're still going around. But like students at school would go through like either a chemical diet or something that they would refer as the Mayo Clinic diet, which of course had absolutely nothing to do with Mayo Clinic, but all sorts of hocus pocus, as we might say. And then there used to be a dietitian who would appear on a segment, on a daily segment or a weekly segment on TV. Some of the Arab audience might be familiar with her. Her name was Dr. Carla Murad. She's still actually pretty active on social media now, mashallah. And she was inspired me because she spoke science. She was ditching all the myths and the madness that wasn't just it might be harmless if you just try it, but no, it was actually many of it was harmful. So I started watching her and my interest grew in nutrition. So that's what led me to decide I want to study nutrition. I want people to understand how an important role it can play in their daily lives, in their physical activity, in their ability to pray, ability to have fun with their children, lead a purposeful life, and so on. So it's a lot more than just a meal plan, I guess, that they can temporarily follow and then beat themselves up for not following it well. So it was a lot more than that. And ever since I went to university, which I did my undergrads and my master's in England, actually, I basically have been educating myself further ever since because it's truly a passion of mine and the ability for the incorrect messaging to spread is now, I guess, faster than ever. So we need more people who are more aware, especially moms who are raising children and they want them to have that healthy relationship with food growing up, inshallah.
Yes, yes, 100%, 100%. I really resonate with what you said about the incorrect information being spread out there. And I love your hocus pocus words. That really
I know.
describes it
As a
quite
midwife,
well.
I'm sure you see a lot, right?
Yeah, I
Yes.
do, I do, I do. And it is challenging because, as you say, there is lots of information out there. Social media, internet is full of information, but it's not always correct, not always suitable for everyone.
Right.
So that's important to kind of keep in mind and be aware of. So let's talk a little bit more about nutrition and specifically Ramadan. We know that many people think or kind of prepare for Ramadan in the spiritual way, but there is also physical and nutritional preparation that should be part of our overall preparation for the month. So, from your professional point of view, what would you say that preparing your body for Ramadan really means? And when should women ideally start? Is it too late now? We have like 2 weeks till Ramadan. Is it too late or do we still have time? And what should we focus on?
If you're gonna come take take away a message today. I want you to remember that it's never too late. The key is to start where you're at, whether it's in preparing for Ramadan or whether there's a specific health goal that you're working towards for a medical reason or for just an overall well-being reason. It's never too late. Just start where you're at. As for Ramadan, to answer your question, it's going to vary. So different people are going to need different kinds of preparation. For example, those who love coffee and really enjoy it and need it for their morning start, basically they're gonna want to start reducing their caffeine intake gradually. So they're also going to want to change the timing of when they drink their coffee. And again, it's going to vary from one person to the other. I know some people who will just completely stop overnight. They're going to start Ramadan and no problems at all. They're comfortable. They're able to adjust pretty quickly to the lack of coffee during their fasting hours, while others suffer for a few days and then their body adjusts. So it's starting where you're at. If you're drinking too many cups of coffee, you want to start reducing that, whether it's for Ramadan or not. And space it out. Space it out throughout the day. You want to also consider physical activity. What kinds of physical activity are you doing right now? What kinds of physical activity are you able to practically and realistically do during Ramadan?
Right.
It's definitely not a time for us to be inactive. There are a lot of problems associated with that while fasting, and we can come to that later. So think of what kind of physical activity. Start planning for that. As for your hydration levels, if a lot of us have been going through cold and flu, it's been going around. So if you have been one of the unfortunate ones who caught it like me, you want to try and hydrate because you don't want to go into your fasting during Ramadan with like a low hydration status, if I may say. So you want to
Yes.
start trying to fix that. Make sure your body goes into Ramadan, inshallah, in a well hydrated state because we don't want to basically be troubleshooting from day one. So try your absolute best to increase your water intake, increase your fruit and vegetable intake because those are hydrating too. Pay attention if you are for any reason getting any signs of dehydration. Maybe go check with your doctor, have a checkup before Ramadan, inshallah. Um, some people, it works for them to start shifting their meal times slightly. So maybe eat around the time when suhoor is actually going to be. So maybe an earlier breakfast. And so try to switch slightly. Me personally, I don't do that. I just basically try my best to hydrate, eat as usual, but then not eat late at night so that I'm able to eat a good meal in the morning. And that works for many families with children because we don't want to completely drastically change things around. One more thing would be constipation. That's a complaint of many people during
Yes. That
Ramadan.
is a big one. That is a
It's a
big
big
one.
one for sure. And if you are suffering from that right now, now is the time to work on fixing that. Three things. So when it comes to constipation and dietary management of constipation or lifestyle management of complication, you have three things to really focus on. Your fiber intake, which would be your fruits, vegetables, whole grains, starchy vegetables with skin. So like a really well-washed potato with the skin on and cooked. It would be number two, your hydration level. Again, water, fruits, vegetables, soups, salads as well, all very hydrating. And number three would be your physical activity. Think of it as like a triangle. You want them all to go hand in hand, and that helps prevent and in many cases treat constipation. If for any reason you think like, okay, my food intake is pretty well, I eat a varied diet, I eat fruits, vegetables, I eat adequate amounts of whole grains. I am physically active. My fluid intake is pretty good, but I'm still suffering from constipation. Definitely go seek medical advice because that would not be the normal in that case for sure. And
Yes.
maybe need a little bit of more help or
Yes.
to find out what's going on.
That's
And
great.
yeah, that would be it.
One question. So you mentioned for the people who drink a lot of coffee to start reducing it. Now we live in lots of our sisters live, and I live in UK. UK is known for its tea consumption. Would
Mhm.
that apply to tea as well?
Yes, so it would depend. So tea is also high in caffeine, but it will also depend on how many cups you drink per day. Like I said at the beginning, whatever we're talking about, start where you're at and gradually reduce. 1 or 2 cups a day is perfectly fine.
Okay, perfect. So I can keep my 1 cup of tea a day.
Oh, please do. There are a lot of health benefits to tea and coffee, actually. So you're not the bad
Alhamdulillah.
guys.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so let's have a little bit closer look at the two main meals in Ramadan. Let's start with iftar because iftar is um, probably for most people the main meal in Ramadan. It's at the end of the whole fasting day. We usually reach that meal quite hungry, so it can lead to us then reaching quickly for whatever is on hand and like quenching that hunger really quickly without really thinking about it, and then ending up eating lots of fried foods, unhealthy foods, heavy foods. So, what should ideal, let's say, ideal balanced iftar plate look like? And like what are the key elements that we should include to keep our bodies well nourished, and what should we kind of try to avoid?
Okay. So it's important to remember here that Muslims come from so many different cultures, and we respect that, and we want to make sure that when we are suggesting any dietary tips, that they include the different cultures. So I am personally not pro the school of nutrition that completely says no to this particular food, especially when it removes an important cultural food item from the iftar table. But moderation is key with everything. So if that particular traditional iftar food item that you like and your family enjoys, it happens to be something that is deep fried, then the problem the problem would be caused by excessive intake. So, in order to ensure we're including a variety and including the things that are going to nourish our body, including the foods that are going to help us keep up our happy energy throughout Ramadan, inshallah, we want to make sure that we are eating a variety while also including the food that might be considered like a comfort food to you. So, um, I would say if it's something, let's say, since I started with the example of the deep fried food, if you want to include those food items, I would limit deep frying to once a week in the at home for various reasons. Deep frying is not the most healthy way of cooking for
Sure.
cardiovascular health, but in smaller amounts, no problem whatsoever. It becomes problematic, like I said, if we're consuming it excessively and regularly. Some people would argue that completely replace fried food with maybe bake your samosas or air fry them. And some people absolutely love that and they're okay with that replacement, while others are like, no, that doesn't compare to the original. I want my crispy deep fried samosa. Have it your way. But like I said, if you opt for the deep fried, then maybe just reduce the frequency and that be it.
Yeah.
As for the entire suhoor meal, one of the biggest problems usually for some people, again, it depends on the culture. For some cultures, there's always soup, for example, at the iftar table. And you and I, Barbara, were talking about this before. So
Yes, yes, we love a
having
good
soup.
soup.
Yes, we absolutely love our good soup. I really feel like where's the soup? Like, if soup is missing if like I'm invited to iftar and there's no soup. But again, that helps me realize and respect and appreciate the variety of the beauty actually in the variety of our different cultures of Muslims around the world. Now, the advantage of having soup is that it automatically makes you slow down. So when we break our fast, it's sunnah to Sayyidina Muhammad to break our fast with water, dates, leban, or like a yogurt drink, or just plain yogurt. And those are fantastic, of course. And they give us like the energy that we need after long hours of fasting without making us feel like we need to consume huge amounts of those. So if we just slowly break our fast based on the sunnah, and maybe have a cup of soup, or don't have skip the soup if you don't want soup, and then pray Maghrib, and then come back for the rest of the meal. That will give your body this time to realize like, okay, I got a little something. I don't have to devour this huge amount or this really big portion too quickly. So it helps us slow down,
Yes.
and that has amazing and fantastic digestive advantages. If you were going to include the soup, like I would like, I would highly recommend that you use the soup as an opportunity for extra nutrition. So when you're planning what kinds of soup you're going to prepare, think protein and think vegetables. It doesn't always have to have both because you're going to include those in the rest of your meal, inshallah. But it's a great opportunity to have some more vegetables. So maybe you might have a vegetable soup one day. Another day, you might have like a lentil-based soup, and that's a
Mm.
plant-based protein, which is fantastic. And ladies, honestly, my advice from a mom to the moms who are watching us, or even if you are not a mom, we are all busy and we all have so much on our plates. So try to simplify things on yourself. So maybe make soup twice a week and make sure it's enough for the whole week so you don't have to make it every single day. Some people choose to freeze, like to start making soup now and like freeze it in batches. You can do that if that works for you. Just think simplifying this so that you can, it's kind of like a way of self-care, really, Barbara. Like you're
Yes,
taking care of yourself
100%.
and your family while saving time as well. So consider things like this.
I love that.
Um,
I love that.
and then when you're thinking about the rest of your meal, your entree or your main meal at iftar, try your best to think of your plate as like a portioned out opportunity for various nutrition to nourish your body during Ramadan. So try your best to have half of your plate to have vegetables. They could be cooked vegetables, they could come from a salad or tabbouleh or any kind of salad that you really enjoy. And then make sure to include protein at every meal. So you want it at your iftar and you want it at your suhoor. And if you're going to have a snack in between, it's a good opportunity. It's a good idea to include some protein as well. Now, when I say protein, many people think meat, chicken, fish. Great, but not necessarily. Don't forget your plant-based proteins. These are your amazing fiber sources. When we only focus on animal-based protein, we are missing out on extra fiber that we really, really need. So
And especially in Ramadan, right?
absolutely. Again, going back to the constipation, some people
Yes.
go into Ramadan having a perfectly good digestive system, great regular bowel movements, but then come Ramadan, it all goes downhill, not because they're not eating adequate amounts, but they're not eating an adequate variety of the
Yeah.
foods that their body needs. So think your legumes, think like things like hummus, fava beans, lentils, and so on. And don't forget your healthy fats at iftar and suhoor. I will come to suhoor, I'm sure, a little bit later, but I highly recommend that you focus on the types of healthy fat that you can actually chew, not just the liquid fats
Mm.
like olive oil. Olive oil is fantastic. We all love it and we all include it in our salad dressings and so on. But also think healthy fats that you can actually chew because those are more filling and they are more satisfying if you think about it. Like if you put like a lot of olive oil, it still tastes good and it's satisfying, but not as satisfying as like chewing on, say, like a piece of cut up avocado in your sandwich, for example, or including some seeds, some nuts. So make sure you're including some of these healthy fats in your iftar and suhoor. And fruit is another food that sometimes gets forgotten, again, depending on what culture you're from. I've noticed, correct me if I'm wrong, I've noticed that many of the Asian cultures, they always have like a beautiful selection of fresh fruit at iftar every single day. So at least from the friends and colleagues in my circles, I've noticed that and I absolutely love it. Because working in different places, I've noticed that fruit and dairy products are two things that many people tend to miss during Ramadan
Mm.
and forget about just because of the way we start eating and they don't really have time to include those anymore. So paying attention to your fruit. If you're not going to have it at iftar, no worries. Just make sure that you're including it in your snack between iftar and suhoor or during your suhoor meal for sure, because you don't want to miss on all those vitamins and minerals. The more variety of fruits and vegetables you include, so different colors, the more variety of nutrients, more variety of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants that you're giving your body. So make sure that
It's
you're
the it's all that eat your rainbow concept, isn't it?
absolutely, yes, exactly.
Mashallah.
Absolutely.
I'm
And
getting hungry from this talk.
I'm sorry, I hope this didn't disrupt your
All
dinner
right,
time in
it's
London.
dinner time, so it's good. And we're actually having soup for dinner.
There you go. Awesome. What soup?
Just a chicken soup. My husband had a bit of stomach issues
Oh,
last
sorry.
week, so we're taking it really slow now.
Yes,
So yeah,
understandable.
yeah,
That sounds actually really good. And then your dairy products as well. So if you have no sensitivity or intolerances, make sure that you're including dairy products in your during your non-fasting hours, obviously. Whether it's milk or cheese or yogurt. Yogurt just happens to have an additional nutrition advantage to compared to the other dairy products. Doesn't mean I'm not saying milk is bad or cheese is bad. It's nothing. We cannot say anything like it's not like good or bad. It's everything is relevant. So, but yogurt just happens to have more probiotics, unlike milk. So make sure you're including that, and it's a fantastic protein source that you can also include whether you're with your iftar or at your suhoor.
yes,
So
yes. It's really nice. I come from Eastern Europe, so for us, one of the like very important probiotic foods is milk kefir. So we
yeah,
have that often with with it, we have it often to break the fast with the
yeah,
dates, and then during the day, I mean normal day, not fasting day, we have it as a condiment with other meals and things like that. And also, if us or kids have like upset tummy, we have a little bit of kefir because it can help rebalance the microbiome and kind of help the gut along a little bit. Not
absolutely.
not to mention constipation. It's really amazing for constipation as well.
And that's the thing, like with our probiotics, there is so much research that we keep learning about the benefits of probiotics. You mentioned digestion also help with our immunity.
Yes,
They have amazing our brain health, our mood. So there are so many advantages to consuming adequate amounts of probiotics. Some we already know, and some benefits that we are still learning and we still don't know. And there comes the key like of why we keep saying eat a variety of fruits and vegetables because the variety there feeds those probiotics. So
yes,
your fiber there, your plant-based protein and your fruits and vegetables, especially the ones that have the skin that's edible, those feed a variety of the good bacteria in our gut,
yes.
and hence that gives us
Subhanallah.
a variety of benefits. So,
Subhanallah, yes. Really love what you said at the beginning that everything is relevant and it's good to appreciate everybody's culture and where we come from, that there is no one right way of eating. There are so many different ways, and we're all individuals, so also our nutrition needs to be individualized. So I think that's really important to kind of highlight that we don't have to change our cuisine
mm,
in order to eat healthy. We just
correct.
may need to adjust our own cuisine, our own traditional meals to kind of support us. So that's
Absolutely. And
really,
that's what keeps it consistent. If you tell somebody
yes,
to follow a certain way of eating, that's completely like it doesn't take into consideration their habits, their lifestyle, their
yes,
traditions, their culture. They might follow it for a little bit, but they won't be able to stick with
yes,
it at all. And in
It's
order
not
to see the
sustainable,
health
no.
benefits, we have to be able to follow along for a bit or be consistent as much as possible.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just another fad diet.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad that you're saying it. And that's exactly how I work with my clients as well. Just I want to know what you're eating, and then I'll help you adjust it so that it works for your body, for your own health a little bit better. But I'm not going to give you completely different recipes to eat something that you're not used to or it's not in your culture at all. So
Right.
yeah, so that's great. And now that we've covered iftar, how about suhoor? Um, how important is to actually have a proper meal at suhoor? Because a lot of the times people are a bit rushed in the morning, or they just wake up the last minute, and I'm one of them, waking up last minute and then quickly eating something. Um, or sometimes people even skip suhoor completely just to get a little bit more sleep in, things like that. So yeah, is it important to eat suhoor? How important it is, and what would be good things to eat in the morning to kind of carry us throughout the whole day?
Absolutely. So I'm going to start with Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam's words, not my own. Sayyidina Muhammad said, "Tasahharu فإن في السحور بركة," meaning take suhoor, for in suhoor there is blessing. And I was reading a little bit more about that, and the idea was that we want to wake up our body, not just physically, but also spiritually before Fajr. So
Mm.
that's one way of looking at suhoor. There's another hadith that I really love, but I'm going to have to read it because I don't know it by heart. And I'm going to say in Arabic first, and then I'll read the English translation. السحور أكله بركة فلا تدعوه ولو أن يجرع أحدكم جرعة من ماء فإن الله عز وجل وملائكته يصلون على المتسحرين. It's beautiful, really, to understand what that means. It says suhoor, or Sayyidina Muhammad والسلام, says suhoor is a blessed meal, so do not omit it, even if one of you only takes a sip of water. For Allah and His angels send blessings on those who eat suhoor. What else do we want?
MashaAllah.
Like, what else do we need? Alayhi salatu wassalam. The nutrition part. So, as a dietitian now, I can tell you. So, it makes absolute sense that in order to sustain ourselves, in order to make sure that our body is getting like a continuous release of energy throughout the day, we want to make sure that we eat as close to the time that we start our fast as possible. And that is sunnah to Sayyidina Muhammad to eat suhoor as late as possible, so as close to Fajr, and then break our fast soon after Maghrib. Um, Suhoor is really going to determine, it's going to help determine, there are many factors, to be fair, but it's going to really help determine how you feel during your fasting hours. Are you one of those who is feeling like, okay, time to couch potato, my energy levels are so low, I'm very short-tempered, and that's sometimes moms and sometimes dads,
Yes.
or anybody really. Or are you the one who's feeling like more focused, more like, okay, my energy's fine. Yes, I'm hungry. Yes, maybe sometimes I'm thirsty, but is it really stopping me? Is it really getting in my way of getting my work done or getting my tasks completed and so on? So, again, with suhoor, think of it as your like how we talked about the different nutrients in iftar, think of suhoor the same way, but I would say it becomes increasingly important at suhoor to make sure you're including a good quality fiber, so whole grains, making
Mhm.
sure you're including protein, and making sure you are hydrating. One of the mistakes that people tend to do is that they drink too much water at suhoor, filling their tummy, and then they're unable to eat adequate calories
Right.
for their meal. What I would recommend instead is that you hydrate during iftar. Make sure you are drinking water during like the time between iftar and the time you go to sleep. And then, of course, drinking water during suhoor, but not overwhelming your stomach with too much water that you're unable
Yes.
to eat a good meal. So a good meal is going to vary from one person to the other. Sometimes if you're really rushed, like one of my fast go-to options would be a banana, a cup of yogurt, and a handful of like almonds. I don't go for the salted options for suhoor to avoid that further increasing thirst. So that's just one fast suggestion, but it ticks all the boxes. I'm getting my good quality carbs from the banana. So I'm getting some fiber there. I'm getting protein from the yogurt. And I'm getting calcium, of course, which is very important for us. And I'm getting some healthy fat and a little bit of protein from the nuts. So that is broken down slowly during the day. I'm going to give you an example of something that I would not recommend at suhoor. Think fries, ketchup, and maybe a piece of chocolate. What
Oh,
happens
wow.
there is that
What a mixture.
the fries are going to make you thirsty very quickly, not filling enough. Like your body might feel full in the moment, but then you get hungry very quickly. And the simple sugars in chocolate are gonna make like what happens is that you get that glucose spike and then it drops pretty intensely. And what happens when it drops is that when we get hungry and
Yeah, and
irritable and
tired.
hangry and tired. Exactly. So we don't want to eat foods that are going to give us a quick increase in blood glucose levels and then a
Mm,
drop. We want to eat foods that are going to help our body break that down gradually for a longer period of time. And that's what your protein does. That's what your whole grains do. You might do eggs and whole grain toast and some fruit. Fantastic. Another way of thinking about suhoor is basically it's a meal to fill in the blanks. So think of your iftar. Did I have some vegetables at iftar? Tick. Did I include some fruit? I didn't have time to eat any fruit. Make sure you're including fruit at suhoor. Okay, back to my iftar meal. Did I have protein there? Yes, I did. Am I going to have protein again at suhoor? Absolutely. Try to have protein like suhoor, iftar, and even maybe at your snack between if you have maybe some crackers and some nut butter and a piece of fruit. Fantastic. So basically go through your different food groups that you had during iftar and fill in the blanks at suhoor time. I'm not
right.
saying that if you had all that stuff at iftar that you don't have it at suhoor. Still try to aim for protein, whole grains, and fruits or vegetables at your suhoor for sure.
Yes, great. That's amazing. That's amazing advice. How about having some leftovers from your iftar or even the soup
Yeah.
again?
Absolutely, great idea. Just make sure it's not something salty. That's what I would say.
Yes. Yes,
Like avoid things
that
like the
would make
ready-made
you
soups.
thirsty.
Very. Avoid the ready-made soups. Avoid anything that was made with things like soy sauce because that's also high in
Yeah,
sodium. That'll make you thirsty. So yeah, those are the only things. Otherwise, yeah, leftovers are fantastic.
perfect. And how about hydration as such? Because um, for example, myself, I find it really hard to get enough fluids in myself between iftar and sahur. I just can't get, you know, big amount of water in me. So what would be some of the ways how we can increase our hydration if we can't physically manage that
Yeah.
amount of water?
So spread out the cups of water that you drink throughout your non-fasting hours. So maybe try to aim for 2 to 3 cups during your iftar, and then maybe another 2 cups between your iftar and the time you go to sleep. So that's a total of 5 so far. And then at your suhoor, you can easily drink, inshallah, about 2 cups. Some people drink more, but try to do that and eat your meal. And then after your meal, your suhoor, if you have time and you feel like you are able to drink more, if you're thirsty, have some more. Now, it's important to remember that our source of hydration isn't just water. Water is great and we need it and it's super important and there's no replacing it. But there is supplementing basically. So fruits and vegetables are high in water. And during Ramadan, you can ensure that you're including the higher water content ones, like berries, like cucumbers, like watermelon. All of these are fantastic and they have high water content and they contribute to your hydration as well. Teas, these also contribute to your hydration. Juices do contribute to your hydration, but because we have like limited eating windows, I would say avoid the juice if you love it, go for it. But instead, eat the fruit because that's going to give you the fiber as
Yeah.
well, and hydrate with the water. But if you do love juice and you enjoy it, do include it. But maybe again, not every single day, especially if you're not including enough fiber in your diet overall.
Yes, yes, great. Thank you. And now I think one of the big things that comes up every Ramadan, I get a lot of questions before every Ramadan from women that are pregnant or breastfeeding, whether they uh, can or should fast and what should they eat to kind of make sure that their baby is fine if they're pregnant, or that they don't lose milk if they're breastfeeding. What advice would you give to our pregnant and breastfeeding sisters?
Very important, and sending lots of love to the mamas who are either pregnant or just had their baby or have had their baby maybe a year ago, but they're still breastfeeding, mashallah. Lots of love to you. I know it can feel a little lonely sometimes in Ramadan for them, especially if they cannot fast for one reason or the other. Now, starting with pregnant moms, I would say this is something that you definitely want to speak to your doctor about, because every pregnancy, as you know, Barbara, can be different. Um, when I was pregnant with my second, I was like, oh, I'm totally going to fast. I'm feeling fine. And I asked my doctor, and she said, well, you can fast if you drink water, but you can. I was like, what? No, that's not how it works. So she didn't want me to fast. And I was like further along in my pregnancy, and sometimes they have certain concerns. So that's something that you definitely want to address with your own doctor. I know it feels lonely if your doctor says do not fast during your pregnancy, but find your community, find your village who's going to make up some of those fasts with you later on when you are ready, inshallah.
Oh, that's such a good idea to find other moms and then finish the fasts together later. Oh,
The
that's
only
really
way to make it
nice.
easier, yes, because let's face it, the husbands are just not going to do it with us. So we're just going to have to find someone else.
That's a good point. Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Well, they might. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they will.
I think it's
Um,
I think it's not the same, it's not the same.
I know it's definitely not the same. Inshallah, inshallah, may you be rewarded for what you're doing for yourself and your baby. Now, if you're breastfeeding and you want to fast during Ramadan and you feel like your body is back and you feel strong again, you feel like, okay, I'm able to fast. Everything we talked about, iftar and suhoor, especially suhoor, becomes increasingly important for you because for example, the level of hydration that you need is even higher than the
Yeah.
rest of us. So you want to make sure that you are hydrating really well, paying attention to any signs of dehydration. Are you feeling dizzy? Are you feeling extra tired? Is your skin drying out more than the little bit? Like we do feel
Yeah.
like a little bit of dry lips while we're fasting, but is it more than that? If you notice more than that, then that's time to stop the fasting. Check with your doctor or if you have a lactation consultant or a dietitian that you work with, check with them. They can do a nutrition
Or
assessment.
midwife.
Or midwife, absolutely, of course. So definitely do that. And then based on that, decide together whether you can continue fasting or not. In many cases, many moms are able to fast if they make sure that they are nourishing their body. Because sometimes, let's face it, moms are also busy. So sometimes she doesn't
Mhm.
even have time to sit down and eat a proper meal. So I would highly recommend that she makes herself a good amount of batches of smoothie mixes, maybe freeze them ahead of time, and then add them to a blender, add maybe some yogurt, some milk every single day after your iftar or after or part of your suhoor in order to make sure that, like we said earlier, filling in the blanks of nutrients
Yes.
that might be missing here and there. And make sure you're taking your prenatal vitamins as well while you're breastfeeding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really great advice. And one more thing in terms of women I wanted to touch on. Um, And that's something that is not often talked about when we talk about fasting in Ramadan or otherwise, and what should we eat or not eat. The difference between female and male body physiology, and how does all this work for women specifically? How are we different from men? And how, or what are some different ways how we can support our bodies that might be slightly different to men, basically?
Right. Yes. So we have plenty of research, or increasing amounts of research, I should say, because of intermittent fasting. And we
Yes.
know now that there are certainly differences of how the human body responds to prolonged periods of fasting. And comparing that between men and women, sometimes there are differences in your metabolism and how, like in men, they may lose actually body fat from different areas compared to women. How for some, the energy levels are not completely affected. For others, it might be. We know that prolonged fasting can have over time, if it's, I'm not talking about Islamic fasting now, I'm talking in general. So intermittent fasting, because we know people are doing it in so many different ways. And then we have the water fasts that people like think that that's something that they want to try for several days, which I certainly do not recommend, especially to women, because we know based on research that that can cause hormone disruptions. For some, even just intermittent fasting, if it's done for a prolonged period of time and if it's not done in a healthy way. So they're not paying attention to what they're including in their diet when they break their fasts.
Mhm.
That can affect their hormone regulation, their hormone balance, and that's something we certainly want to avoid. So when it comes to Islamic fasting, because it's for a limited amount of time, we are paying attention increasingly to what nutrients we are including in our iftar, in our suhoor. If there are any deficiencies, we are making sure that we are addressing those with our physicians, because sometimes, believe it or not, food is not enough and they need a supplement to further support their body function. There isn't one type of supplement that I will recommend and say, this is perfect for everybody. It's going to depend. Everybody has a different health status, and based on that, they would need a different supplement or not. Some people don't need any supplements at all. So it really depends on what deficiencies we are trying to take care of and so on. So back to, if you haven't done a checkup in a long time and you are able to before Ramadan, definitely go ahead and schedule an appointment and do a checkup and take it from there with your physician and see if there are any supplements that you need to take in order to support your body. Make sure that there are no disruptions just because of fasting, because there are so many benefits both men and women can get from fasting. But sometimes our habits are the ones that get in the way from us getting that beautiful benefit of fasting during Ramadan.
Yes, thank you. That's great. So we are slowly coming to an end. So, ladies, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or just have them in your heads, and we will soon take some questions. But before we do that, can you maybe give us like 3 key tips for women to focus on this Ramadan or before Ramadan, to stay healthy and on top of things, basically?
Okay, so I want to say, first of all, is that sometimes, you know how every January or every December of every year, there's like a huge hype of you need to do this in order to be your new body in this new year and so on. So there's a lot of that goes around, a lot of food noise, a lot of wellness marketing that goes around. Surprisingly, that happens during Ramadan too. So
That's
I
true.
want you, yes. And it's not all bad. Some of it is good, but I want you to be number one. That's tip number one. filter through the information that's thrown at you from social media, from other sources. There's so much that gets thrown at us and it gets overwhelming. Not everything that we hear is true in terms of health and nutrition. So if it makes you feel bad about yourself, if it makes you feel overwhelmed, like I don't know what, like a friend of mine was telling me the other day, I don't know what to eat anymore. I don't know what to feed my kids
Mm.
anymore. I feel like whatever I choose, I'm being told it's toxic or it's bad for them. Please don't listen to the fear mongering. It's exactly that. It's fear mongering, and there's usually they do it for clicks, they do it to sell a particular book or supplement or so on. So filter through the information that's thrown at you now during Ramadan because there's a lot of it. Ramadan is not a month to do like drastic changes in your overall, like it's not the time to say, you know what, I'm gonna go completely plant-based, or I'm don't you don't need to do that unless that you have a reason, if that's unless there's a medical reason that you want to do that. But other than that, just start where you're at. That's what we started with. Filter through the information. Number two, start where you're at, do gradual changes that feel good to you, and think, you know what? I'm going to take one thing, one healthy habit that I really enjoyed during this month that actually made me feel good, and I'm going to take it with me after Ramadan. Number three, I would really say, um, listen to your body. And that can hold a lot of weight in itself because that can be a challenge to some people. And if you find that increasingly challenging for you for one reason or the other, find a dietitian, find a registered dietitian who you can trust and start working with her, because sometimes we need to fix that relationship with food and the relationship we have with our body, and it will go a long way. But for those who can listen to their body and they understand what I mean by that, it's an important thing because it means you are listening to your hunger. It means that during Ramadan, when you are fasting and you're feeling hungry, that you know, like, okay, maybe I need to modify so and so during suhoor to help reduce that hunger a little bit, or maybe delay that hunger a little bit during the day. Maybe it's at iftar, you feel full and you listen to your body and you stop when you're full and satisfied because you know and you trust that you are able to eat more when you get hungry again during the non-fasting hours, obviously. So, those are the three tips from me to you. And a friend of mine, Jazakallah khair, reminded me that tomorrow is the middle of the month, right?
Mhm.
Uh, so tomorrow is there's a lot of mercy, and it's a really good way to recharge us spiritually before Ramadan, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you for all that. And actually, the first tip that you mentioned about the overwhelm, and that your friend said that she can't even eat anything because everything is toxic, that's resonated with me so much, because I was at one point also in that sort of space where I thought like I couldn't even cook. It was so difficult for me because it felt like, all the information from all sides, like this is not good for you, that is not good for you, that is toxic, and it just gets so frustrating and
Overwhelming.
overwhelming.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you just simply have to let go of all of that, like, even if it means that you even like shut down the social media for a while, to
Mhm.
kind of cleanse and detox from all that information,
Yeah.
and just go back to the basics, get your like staples, get them locally, get the seasonal stuff that is now in season, and just cook simple meals that
Yes,
you're
mindfully.
used to. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So, eating, cooking mindfully, consuming social media mindfully so that we can get benefits when there are benefits there.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
alhamdulillah. Barakallahu fiki, Hiba, for all of that.
وإياكي.
Let's see if we have some questions now.
Sure.
So, any recommendations on adapting nutrition to the different phases of the menstrual cycle? Well, that's a good question.
That's a very good question. So again, that we go back to the listening to your body. So there's a lot of guilt sometimes that comes with having cravings or feeling more hungry during certain phases of the menstrual cycle. Listen to your body, but be very picky. I'm not saying be picky in a bad way. Be picky in a good way. Your body is your amana. We only have one. Allah gave us one body. Take really good care of it. If you feel that you're hungrier at certain times during the month, make sure that you are including more nourishing foods. So maybe you need more, say you have a cheese sandwich usually for breakfast, make it more nourishing. Maybe add some eggs, maybe add some spinach to that, and that will increase the fiber, it'll increase the protein. Maybe switch from white bread to whole grain bread, that'll make it more filling, more nourishing, and definitely make sure that you are being physically active throughout the month. But when you again feel that, okay, I'm not feeling it today, I'm actually feeling pretty weak, and you know that majority of the time you're trying to be active, definitely listen to your body, rest, take a break. So it's both the nutrition and the physical activity throughout the month for sure.
Yes, yes, 100%. Um, okay, what else is there? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What does your iftar, hiba, and suhoor look like? That's a
Ooh.
specific question on you.
Yeah, so you will always find soup on my iftar most of the time. And no, when there is no soup, that I'm a little bit sad if I didn't have time to make soup. So there would usually be soup. My go-tos are lentil and vegetable soup or a vegetable and oats soup that I love so much. And there's always
Mashallah.
going to be a source of protein. So, for example, there's a dish that my family really enjoys that consists of like chicken and carrots and potatoes and like a yogurt-based sauce with a side of rice and fattoush salad. So that would be the iftar.
Mashallah,
Yeah, so
mashallah.
food, on the other hand, and I do fry samosas once a week. I should say that to keep things real. I don't usually fry food during the year, not just because it's high in the unhealthy fat, but because it kind of breaks my heart all the amount of oil that gets wasted when you have to
Yeah.
deep fry. And like it's messy. And so I only fry during Ramadan, and my kids look forward to it. And there are certain like cheese rolls that they really enjoy, or vegetable samosas. So I do that once or twice a week during Ramadan. My suhoor, I mentioned an example of the rushed suhoor, the yogurt with a banana and some nuts. That's my quick suhoor. If I have more time, it would include bread and eggs and vegetables and a piece of fruit usually.
Mashallah, mashallah. Very nice, very nice. Um, Next question. Is it okay to take fruits with chicken and whole grain and iftar and suhoor, or there should be a gap between taking fruits and other foods?
No, no need to have a gap. There used to be some circulating information at some point that fruit, when you eat it with your main meal, it kind of like spoils in your stomach. I've heard that before. I'm not sure if this is what the lady was referring to. There's no scientific evidence about that whatsoever. Whether it's fruit or anything else, just don't eat it if you're full. So don't let it be like an extra. Make sure it's part of your meal if you're satisfied with it and that's the way you enjoy it. Absolutely. There are delicious salads that actually include things like chicken, quinoa, mangoes, berries, spinach and greens and like all in the same bowl and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If anything, it's a nutrition powerhouse. Go for it.
Mashallah, mashallah. Next question is, do you suggest to go to a dietitian for a 44 years old woman in perimenopause and overweight that can't lose weight?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of information that we can get off the internet now very easily. But the key element that helps a lot of people, not just women, is the support factor and the guidance and doing things in the gradual way that meets that person's needs physically, emotionally. Sometimes there's like a relationship with food that needs to get fixed. Sometimes there's a mindset shift that we work on during nutrition counseling. So the short answer is absolutely yes, I highly recommend it.
100%. I'm glad that you mentioned that emotional link, that it's not always just about the food, it's also about what the food kind of means for us on the
100%. The
emotional
connection.
level. What are the links behind it and things like that? That's really important to address as well. Great. Next question. Is it bad to eat fruits after a meal? I heard fruits should come first. Is that correct? And second bit of that question, I get flatulence when I'm fasting. Is this normal when fasting? And how can I reduce it?
Okay, so the first one, it's not bad to eat fruit after a meal unless you were full and that fruit was extra. Um, Eating fruit at the beginning of the meal from as a dietitian, I can tell you it absolutely has advantages because one, you're not going to be like leaving it and then be too full and be like, okay, I'm too full for the fruit now. So you eat it first. It has a lot of nutrients. Eat it at the beginning of the meal. It also has volume. So if you're trying to reduce the amount of food that you eat during the meal, starting with fruit or salad is a great strategy. Absolutely. But it's also a matter of preference. If you don't prefer starting with a fruit, you don't have to. Just make sure you are including it at some point. But no, it is not bad. There are no unhealthy things that can happen to your body if you eat it at the like middle of your meal or at the end of your meal as dessert, for example. Absolutely no problem. And then feeling the bloating and flatulence that she mentioned during Ramadan. Thank you for your question. That's actually a common thing that a lot of people tend to suffer from. Here's what I would suggest. Check how you are eating during iftar. Is the meal going too fast? Are you chewing really, really well? That's something that you can improve upon because we tend to forget, Barbara, that digestion actually starts in our mouth. When we
Absolutely. Yes.
chew really well, that's when the digestive enzymes in our mouth start getting released. If we are not chewing very well, we're kind of missing on that very important part, and that increases the chances of us starting to feel like indigestion, bloating, and so on. So chew your food really well, slow down, enjoy it, savor it, pause during your meal to do salah, and then come back to continue your meal. And definitely make sure that you are getting hydrated and that you are being physically active throughout the day. And it could just simply mean 10 minutes after your iftar, just walking around 10 minutes after iftar, or maybe if you are up for it, a 20-minute workout before your iftar, whatever works for you. So try to plan your physical activity in a way that you are able to keep up with during Ramadan.
Inshallah, inshallah. Right. Next question. Oh, you've not mentioned dates. Is it best to have a few at suhoor or iftar or both?
So I did briefly mention dates based on the Sunnah of Sayyidina Muhammad. They are fantastic to break your fast with because they give us this quick sugar and nutrients.
Energy
So we're not just
boost. Yeah.
absolutely, as this quick energy boost, and they help basically fix our blood glucose levels. So having odd number of dates, like Sayyidina Muhammad did, would be great. So if you are someone who gets full pretty quickly, I would say stick to one date. If you feel like I can have more than one date and still be able to eat my vegetables and my protein and so on, you can go more than one. Um, at iftar, for sure. Now, at suhoor, it'll be up to you. If you would like dates to be your source of fruit, you can absolutely include dates at suhoor. There's no problem at all. But I would like to remind you, because our window of eating is pretty small, make sure you are including a variety. So if you have dates every day at iftar, maybe consider having something else at suhoor, just so that you're including a variety of nutrients through your food.
Perfect. And one last question. Should we avoid eating raw vegetables?
I'm curious why, but I will say this. Um, Okay, this brings me to a lot of like the rumors that sometimes go around, and I feel like I get a little frustrated when it's related to fruits and vegetables because like these are the things we really majority of the people we work with actually need to increase their fruit and vegetable intake, not the opposite. So Short answer, no, you don't need to avoid raw vegetables. Longer answer, make sure that they are rinsed really well from a food safety point of view. Um, Raw fruits and vegetables versus cooked both have different benefits. So eating a variety is absolutely great for your body. You asked about vegetables. For example, I can tell you tomatoes, carrots, when eaten raw, for example, if you eat raw tomatoes in a salad, you're getting more vitamin C, for example. You're getting an amazing antioxidant called lycopene. It's really good for our body cells, anti-cancer, lots of fantastic things. These are raw, fresh. On the other hand, if you cook these vegetables like tomatoes and carrots, when you cook them for a longer period of time, you're getting more beta carotene, which is another nutrient that's also very important for us, and that's released more when cooked. So cooking versus fresh both have amazing benefits. So I would say make sure, in fact, that your body is including both sources, fresh and cooked vegetables.
Yeah,
But I'm still
yeah.
very curious, actually. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and let me know like what that was about. Maybe there's more to it that you want me to clarify.
I
I'd be
think
more than
there are
happy to.
lots of rumors that, because of the heavy use of different pesticides and other sprays on the produce, it's not ideal maybe to eat raw. But
Okay.
you can find ladies you can Google the Dirty Dozen, which are the main fruits and vegetables that are the most sprayed, and those ones, if you can get organic, would be better. Otherwise, just wash thoroughly. There are different washing suggestions out there with vinegar, with baking soda, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, but it is important to have variety. You need to have some
Absolutely.
raw ones because the cooked ones have their benefits. But for example, if you're cooking it, you are kind of deactivating the vitamin C. Yes, you might be bringing up
Heat
the
sensitive.
other things, but you're losing some other things. So you need better both,
Absolutely. So
basically.
washing them thoroughly. And then I know, depending on where you live and what kind of food access you have, for some, organic might not be easily accessible.
Yeah,
So don't, please don't feel that if you don't buy organic, you are in a way harming your family or absolutely not. We have a lot more research coming out now comparing organic versus just the regular fruits and vegetables, and they are both absolutely perfectly fine. Just make sure that you are washing both really well. Even organic, they still use some pesticides in it. It's just a different type of pesticide. So just make sure you are washing them really well, is my advice.
yes, 100%. And from that perspective, also eating local produce and seasonal is really important, because if the produce is transported to where you live from another part of the world, it has to be preserved somehow. It has to be sprayed with something that will ensure that the fruits and vegetables stay beautiful, they don't get any mold, they don't get rotten in the transport,
Absolutely.
things like that. So
Absolutely.
that's why we always say buy local and ideally seasonal.
And it
So
tastes better.
it
It
tastes much
actually
better.
tastes way better, and the
There's
the
so
the
much, such a
nutrient content.
difference.
Such a difference. And the nutrient content is actually higher when it's seasonal and local. Because
Yes,
like Barbara said, it hasn't traveled for too long. And the traveling part, the fruits and vegetables are exposed to more. Some are going to be heat sensitive, some are going to be affected by like the light and so on. So yeah, local and seasonal whenever possible, absolutely.
yes,
But at the end of the day, any fruits or vegetables are better than none. Any are
100%.
better than none.
Always go for the best version of what you can get. As simple as that.
Yes.
Right. We've got a couple more questions there. I tend to be really low in energy in the first few days of Ramadan. Is there any way I can help myself feel better?
Yes, check with your hydration level. That can play a big part. So, are you feeling hydrated? Think of the signs of dehydration, like we said earlier, fatigue, dizziness, the color of your urine. It's perfectly normal towards the end of the day, just before we break our fast, for the urine color to be darker. But if it's darker from the beginning of the day, then that's a sign that you need to be hydrating more. So think of a variety of sources of hydration: water, fruits, vegetables, soups, salads. And if that continues and you're sleeping well, that's a big part of it. If all of that, you're fixed all of that, and you still are feeling the same way, and it's prolonged for several days, I would say it's time for a checkup for sure. But inshallah, that will help fix things for you.
Inshallah, inshallah. And one more thing I wanted to ask. You mentioned that to work with a dietitian or nutritionist is a good idea if we can't figure it out ourselves. And I know that you run some even online classes, so that we've got ladies all over the world. So tell us a little bit more about what you offer for ladies.
So, like you mentioned at the beginning of this, I've started the Happy Energy Nutrition and Wellness program for moms that looks at the mom's nutrition intake, not just her health physically, but her overall well-being. We have guest speakers like psychologists, like physical, personal trainers who come and talk to us, and then there are follow-ups. It's like a support group, but also it includes like a one-on-one individualized sessions. During Ramadan, I often usually also offer nutrition talks in English and Arabic. And thank you for inviting
Mashallah.
me today to get this started. So follow my Instagram. It's happyenergy.nutrition. That's where I usually share any announcements, any workshops or lectures, and that you can join, and be more than happy to have you, of course.
Amazing, amazing. I will share the details where people can find you on
Thank
my
you.
WhatsApp community. And also when I put the recording in YouTube, I will put all the details there for everyone to
Appreciate you.
be able to contact you and get more advice if they need it, inshallah.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so we've gone a little bit over our time. Hopefully you don't mind. And thank you to everybody who stayed with us. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone to join us. Thank you, Hiba, for sharing all that wonderful knowledge and information. I wish everybody a happy and healthy Ramadan, inshallah.
Ameen. Ameen.
And yeah, have a lovely evening, afternoon, rest of the day, wherever you are in the world. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.